a lovely morning here in Arkansas. I'm excited to be here today to talk to you a little bit about brand advocacy and how you can help to control your brand and your brand equity online. So just a little bit about us. Sage Tree is a part of Advantage Solutions, so we're a large brokerage. We have a lot of different arms, so we have an Advantage Digital Technology arm, which is where Sage Tree lives. We're in part of the product selling and enforcement, and we have a 3P selling arm, which is Quiver. Melissa just talked about Ryan Mulvaney from Quiver, so they're part of our family. We also have some other tools like the Data Council and Flix Media and Canopy and Atlas and all kinds of different things. So we're part of this big digital group. But what I'm here to talk to you about today is specifically marketplace enforcement and review management, which are two really big components of your online brand equity, especially on Amazon. So marketplace enforcement, we'll get started here. This just gives you a little view of Amazon's 3P market from 2013 and then looking forward, projected through 2023. And you can see the 3P market is that pink part of those bars, and the 1P is the gray. And the pace for the 3P growth has far outpaced the 1P, and I think there's a lot of different reasons for that. Profitability is certainly one of them. We've seen Amazon do some interesting things, particularly in March of this year. They turned off ordering for several vendors on Vendor Central, and then after they saw how the marketing and advertising implications would be on that, they turned it back on real quick and everybody got orders again, right? But I think that this will change even more than this even says right now. I think that the 3P marketplace is certainly growing, perhaps even at a faster pace because of some of those things that Amazon's recently done. And a lot of brands taking on a hybrid approach, especially for items that are not profitable within 1P. So most popular retail websites in the United States, this should not be a surprise to anyone, right? Amazon, Walmart, and then eBay, which is really the originator of the third-party marketplace, right? So that's what they all have in common, is that they're all of these platforms have a third-party marketplace where other people are selling products other than just the brand, which creates a lot of different pain points for brands. So who else is selling your product? Does anybody know how many 3P sellers they have on their brand at any given time? Yes, you kind of have an idea. So here's one example. This is coffee pods. I love my coffee. And one of these items is obviously being sold by Vittoria, and the other one is being sold by Arian, LLC. And the thing is that a lot of shoppers aren't even aware that these 3P sellers even exist on the platform. My own mother is one of them. She's always super surprised when she buys something and it like shows up in a non-Amazon box. And then she tries to return it to Amazon all in one box and can't understand why she doesn't get a refund. I'm like, Mom, come on, let me help you. So that's one of the challenges with Amazon, right? Is that there are a lot of consumers that just don't even realize that it exists. And part of the thing about the 3P platform, and people say, oh, well, it's hard to get rid of sellers. It is hard to get rid of sellers by design because Amazon gets a portion of every single sale that comes out of that marketplace, 15% off the top. And then if they're advertising, they get advertising money. And if they're using Fulfilled by Amazon, there's shipping fees and storage fees. I mean, they make a ton of money off of the marketplace. So Amazon's really not in the business of shutting these guys down or gating brands for manufacturers. So let's talk for just a minute about 3P seller profiles. I really like to put these in two buckets if they're not the manufacturer themselves. We've got these large, sophisticated sellers. There's a building somewhere that people go to go to work. They're probably placing purchase orders directly to a manufacturer or to a distributor. They've got an actual warehouse facility. Chances are that they're fulfilled by Amazon, so they're Prime eligible items. And they're doing anywhere from about $2.5 to over $10 million in revenue annually. And then we've got the small guys. They're probably going to the warehouse stores to break down case packs. They shop at Costco a lot. Things go on clearance. They walk out with a skid. They probably work out of their basement. Their garage is very likely their warehouse. They have very little overhead. They work in their pajamas. Nothing against that. I work from home too, so it's okay. But just a whole different set of problems, right? You got people that are worried about overhead and paying employees, and then you got Ned that works out of his basement and is only worried about, like, can he turn 50 cents on an item? So some of those pain points that they create, obviously, is price degradation, bad content. Sometimes we see high pricing that's super crazy because they're buying it at retail and then they're baking in all their fees. So now you have consumers that think that the brand is actually price gouging, which is not true. There's counterfeit issues. Obviously, there's quality control, especially in CPG. We see a ton of items that are either close to or past expiration dates. Obviously, there's brick and mortar retailer relationships to worry about at the end of the day. How are your brick and mortar partners, reacting to the pricing that they're seeing online? And then finally, we've got missing or incorrect Q&A and product reviews. So there are marketplace enforcement solutions. We have a lot of them here at Sage Tree, but I like to talk about two particular tracks because I think that they're a little bit misunderstood. So EMAP, friend or foe, right? There are a lot of people out there be like, just put an EMAP policy in place. Super easy, it'll fix all your problems. Not a big deal. Well, EMAP is really hard to manage. There are a ton of things to think about internally, such as any kind of advertising or promotions you do throughout the year. How do those affect your EMAP policy? Do you bake them in? Do you do an EMAP holiday? So that's one of the challenges we see with EMAP. Another one, obviously, is the communication that it takes for you internally to manage an EMAP policy. It's a ton of back and forth with brand teams and checking and double checking. Is it actually an approved promotion? All these different things. So a lot of people, like I said, think this is pricing nirvana, but here's the crux. How do you enforce EMAP over partners that aren't your partners? Right? So you got a bunch of rogue 3Ps out here that are just selling your goods, and you send them a letter that says, hey, here's my EMAP policy. I need you to adhere to this. They're like, no. You don't know who I am. Good luck finding me. I'm going to continue to sell it at whatever I want to sell it at, and good luck with your policy. So that's where EMAP policies fall apart, is you've got this massive third-party problem, selling at whatever, other retailers are comping off of that pricing, and now you've got this spiraling out of control issue because somebody told you that EMAP gets you to the promised land. So where you really got to start, in my belief, is with a third-party marketplace management program, where you go out and you say, okay, you're all unauthorized unless I authorize you. You've got to put legal policies in place. There's a lot of things that have to happen for this to work correctly, because there's this little thing called the first-party sale doctrine, where once you sell the product once, it's out of your hands, and then anybody can do anything they want to with it. Unless, here's where I play a lawyer on TV, unless you have material differences that are baked into your clauses that say, oh, however, these products are not allowed to be sold on Amazon, and the material difference is that I can't do quality control checks on them because Ned stores them in his garage, right? So legally, it gives you a basis to actually go out and enforce against third-party marketplace sellers. So obviously, we've got distribution policies. We monitor and comply, check for compliance, legal action is necessary, and then you get to sales nirvana, where you put your EMAP policy in place, and you've got total control over the third-party marketplace, right? Because EMAP is for your trusted partners, so your Walmarts, your Targets, your Home Depots, your Lowe's, all of those guys. Chewy's a big one, especially in pet. Those guys now adhere to your pricing policy because you don't have all this third-party disruption. Make sense? Yes. All right, so we've talked about some of these pain points, except for the bottom two. So we've covered price degradation, content, counterfeit. What about missing and incorrect and product reviews? This is where we talk a little bit about review management. How many of you are currently looking at reviews of your products online and actively managing it? 1, 2. All right, well, reviews are everywhere, right? Melissa talked about this a little bit. 87% of consumers start their shopping journey on Amazon. So if your reviews on Amazon are not great, chances are, regardless if your consumer is shopping online or in brick and mortar, that you may not win that sale if you have poor reviews. And we find that 50% of shoppers read reviews online before heading into a store. And we're super guilty of that at my house. My husband will say, oh, I'm in between these 2 items on Amazon. Which one should I buy? And what is the first thing I always say to him? How are the reviews? Right? And then what's my next question? How are the negative reviews? Because I really want to know the bad stuff. And that's the interesting thing, is that as consumers, we really want to know, like, what's the worst thing that could happen? And if you haven't done it before, Google yourself, because obviously Amazon isn't the only shopping platform out there that has a review system. Home Depot does as well, obviously Google. Ace Hardware has it, in case nobody knew that. Lowe's. So 89% of consumers consider reviews to be an essential resource when making purchasing decisions. Again, we seek word of mouth. We want validation from our peers to know that we're buying the right product. Is this TV the right TV for me? Or is this other one going to be better because it has different features and it's a smart TV and now I don't have to have a separate Hulu box or whatever? What's interesting about that is that for all of the money that people are spending on e-commerce, less than $1 billion is being spent managing reviews online. So we've got all of this ad dollars that are being spent, and yet 66% of people are trusting consumer reviews, especially over any kind of advertising. And how do the number of reviews affect your brand? Obviously, with the more reviews that you have, the better sales lift you get. So how do you get more reviews? There's a few different ways. If you're on Vendor Central, you can use the Amazon Vine program. Obviously, you have to send product in, however many they say that day. Is it 20, 25? I don't know. They change it from time to time. Plus, your dollar amount for them to actually ship it out to their Vine reviewers. You get some organic reviews that way. They send it to people that use similar products so that they can review it online. They get the product free in order to review it, right? But if you are on Seller Central, you can use drip emails. How many of you get those emails after you purchase something on Amazon that says, review this item? Those are drip emails that are being sent through Seller Central. And there's a lot of different third-party vendors for you to work with to get drip emails out to your clients. But it's a great way to connect with consumers post-purchase, get them to review the product, get them to review the seller. So there's a lot of different ways here to garner more reviews. Oh, that one too fast. Questions and answers. So questions are also a lot more important than you think. Studies show that shoppers are likely to buy products that have questions and answers. They're 4 times more likely to buy products that have questions and answers on the page, even if they haven't necessarily reacted or interacted with those questions and answers. Here's one example. As someone who owns MSI Computer Motherboard, can you help this fellow consumer? Anybody ever get these emails? These are drip emails too. I get them sometimes. Like, there's a question on this and you've bought it before. You want to answer it? Who wants other consumers that bought this answering their questions for them? No? So you got to take control of this so that you are answering your own questions as a manufacturer, so that Lincoln here isn't telling anyone what the power consumption is on this particular motherboard, because Lincoln might not know the answer. So a couple other quick examples, questions that are asked and answered. Can you please list all the ingredients? I'm a label reader, thanks. Eric said, are you freaking kidding me with this? So you may not want that on your chocolate. You may actually want some label information out there. What ring gauge will the cigar holder accept on this cup? Can hold cigar up to 54 gauge, but what about the ring? So they didn't get it right. How many drops of essential oil do you put in your water for this particular diffuser? 6 to 10 drops, depending on how strong a scent you want. 8 to 10 drops, hello, I add 3 to 4 drops. So anywhere from like 2 to 10, like how many, right? So you want to make sure as a manufacturer that you are out there addressing questions and answers, taking control of your third-party marketplace to give your consumers a better, more well-rounded experience, and making sure that you're really protecting the equity of your brand. So what things are you guys doing to manage your brand presence online? Anyone doing any of these? No? Come talk to me. I can help. That's all. Thank you so much for your time.